Welcome back to Melinda's Messy Sink. I'm Melinda, and I appreciate you stopping by my channel to cook with me. Today, we are going to continue in our Easter recipe series. We are on part 2. We will be making pepperoni pasta salad. This salad is so wonderful. It boasts lots of different flavors, and it is so simple to put together, and it's very economical to feed a lot of people. So I cannot wait to see what y'all think of it. So before we get started, I thought we would just kind of check in and see how you guys are doing, and hope that you're having a really good week, and hope the weather's good where you are. It turned a little cold on us here, but it was really nice today. So we're excited that the hint of spring is coming. But I have to tell you what happened to me the other day. So I usually take my dogs out before we go to bed. I usually take them out so they can go potty, and then they're not waking me up in the middle of the night. At least that's my theory anyways. So we just moved from a suburb area. We lived in a subdivision, and we moved to a rural area, and we don't have a lot of neighbors around us. So I usually take my dogs out, and it gets dark so early now. So we were out walking, and I was letting my dogs go to the bathroom, and I heard some rustling in the leaves, and I thought, oh, it's just one of the dogs, no big deal. And then I kind of glanced over to the other field, and I saw both of the dogs running around over there. I have a little bit of problem seeing at night, so I thought, man, they got over there quick because they were just right here by me. Along about that time, I heard rustling in the leaves again. I look over and I saw something move. Let me tell you, I screamed at the top of my lungs. I was like, ah! And I took off running. I was running back towards the house because we had worked our way a little ways away. I'm running. My dogs think it's playtime. They weren't even trying to protect me. So they're quick on my heels, barking. And the whole time I'm running up that driveway, I was like, please don't fall down. Please don't fall down. It's really, really gonna hurt if you fall down. And you know what? Why are you out here in house slippers? You're way too old. It's gravel. It's gonna hurt. And I'm like running faster and faster, trying to make sure my dogs don't trip me. But the main thing is I was trying to get away from whatever that was out there rustling in the leaves. So I come booking it in the house, right? And I come flying around the corner, and I'm gasping for every bit of air that I can. I'm like, and my husband looks at me and he's like, what's wrong with you? I said, dude, something's out there. There's something. I heard it. It was by me. I heard it. There's something. So in my sense of panic, I just want to share to you what my husband's response was. He said, I've been trying to tell you to take a flashlight with you. I was like, dude, like I would want to have shined the light on whatever it was, and it would scare me even worse if eyeballs were looking back at me. So it's very funny now, but then it was scary as all get out. I was like, oh my gosh, something ate me. So my friends have been teasing me, saying that we live around Bigfoot, that I found it. So that's just a little funny story to kind of lighten the day, and we'll go ahead and get started. I thought what we would do first would be to review the ingredients that we're going to use for our pepperoni pasta salad. So for our pepperoni pasta salad, we will be using a seasoning called Salad Supreme. We'll be using Italian dressing. You do not have to use wishbone. It's just my preference in this dressing, in this dish. We'll be using a tricolor rotini pasta. We'll be using pepperonis. I get the mini pepperoni. That way you don't have to spend time cutting up a regular size pepperoni. We'll be using black olives, green pepper, cucumbers, tomatoes, and shredded cheese. I prefer the thicker shredded cheese in this dish. I don't like the finely shredded cheese. It seems like it gets too crumbly and gets lost with all of the pasta. If you wanted, you could also add green onions to this. You do not have to use rotini pasta. I just like it, but any type of pasta will work. If you decide that you'd like to add some other crunchy vegetables, I'm sure they would be great, but this will be a good basis for you to start and then tailor to what you and your family would enjoy. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my hands washed up, get a cutting board and knife to get all the chopping started, as well as put on our water to boil our pasta, and we'll be back to get things started. Okay, our water is boiling and I just dumped the pasta in there. You're going to cook your pasta based on whatever your box directions say. Mine says to boil for 8 minutes. Also, I wanted to ask you guys if you knew or if you had ever heard about this old wives' tale, that if you put a wooden spoon on top of your pot, it will not boil over. I don't know if that really works or not, or the science behind why it works. All I know is that it does work because I've never had a pot boil over. So I just kind of wanted to pass that along to see if anybody knew where it came from and why it works, but it just does. Pasta salads, why our pasta is boiling, we'll go ahead and get started chopping our vegetables. As a reminder, I'm going to wash my hands, I've already washed my hands and I've already cleaned my vegetables. So in our video yesterday, we started talking a little bit about how we do our green pepper. And we're gonna follow the same suit. I did have my husband sharpen my knife, but we're gonna try to stay on the outside of that core. Goodness, there's lots of stuff in this one. Okay, and then you'll have something that ends up looking like this. I usually just throw all this away. Some people may think that that's wasteful, but I don't want to mess around with those seeds if I don't have to. And I think I have plenty for my dish. So I'm gonna put this in my trash bag. And then I'm gonna check my pieces and just make sure that I've gotten all of that core out. I don't want any of that, I don't know if you can see that, okay. I don't want any of that membrane. A little bit down close to the skin is fine, but I don't want a whole big section of that. So I'm gonna trim that up. You guys can't see, but I have a grocery bag that I'm using as a trash can over here. I didn't think y'all would want to look at my trash. So whenever my pasta is done boiling, what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain it and I'm going to rinse it well with cold water, and that will stop the cooking process. You want your pasta, you don't want it too firm, but you also don't want it really mushy where it's going to fall apart in your dish. So you want it somewhere in the middle. Even though my box said to boil it for 8 minutes, I'm still going to do a test just to make sure that it's done enough for me. There's nothing worse than, and I have done this before, than making pasta and you didn't get your pasta all the way done. So your whole dish is ruined. So what I'm doing now with my green pepper is I am just making my sticks. That water is really boiling over there. But knock on wood, my spoon is still holding strong and no boiling over. So I'm gonna finish chopping these up, and our timer is getting ready to go off. So I'm going to strain my pasta and get it rinsed, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that we're done with our green pepper, we're going to go ahead and peel our cucumber and get it sliced as well. The great thing about the peppers and the cucumbers and tomatoes in this dish is that you're not cooking them, so you don't have to be as precise on the cut to make sure they all get done on time. I decided to use 3/4 of that pepper since it was so large, and I'm only going to use one of the cucumbers because the cucumber that we had is so large. When we start mixing it up, if I decide to use the other one, I'll peel and add it. But I am, since my tomatoes are small, I am gonna go ahead and use both of these tomatoes. The great thing about this pasta salad is that there are so many vibrant colors that we'll see together. Now, whenever I do tomatoes, I cut around the core. And so what I do is very similar to the green pepper, is I just kind of cut in. I'm trying to, hopefully you can see that okay. I'm keeping this middle intact. And then I do give a cut and I end up with like this piece. Some tomatoes, the core is a lot larger and harder. This one really wasn't too bad. I could have probably went up a little bit more, but I want to make sure that that piece isn't bitter in our dish. So same thing, hopefully you can see this all right. And then I give it a little chop there. And I end up with this that's gonna go in my trash sack. All right, so I'm going to chop up these tomatoes and we're almost ready to start putting things together. I'll get these chopped and let you watch, and you'll see that there's going to be some big pieces, some little pieces. We're not worried about uniformity in this dish. In a lot of our dishes, we need to be careful and go slower to make sure that we have all of the pieces the same size. We are back, and I have my pasta drained and in our mixing bowl. This is also, I also have a lid for this bowl, so it'll be a great bowl just for me to store it in the refrigerator as well. All right, so we have our pasta. We are going to add our tomatoes. We're going to add our green pepper. And you guys don't worry, I will make sure that I put all of the recipe in the description box below, so don't stress about it. The one thing I do want you to keep in mind is that you are going to have to do your ingredients kind of based on what you like and what size of a box that you buy as far as pasta goes. We got a smaller box of pasta this time because it was just my husband and I that would be eating, but they have much larger sizes, so you'll need to scale up your other ingredients. We've had a couple of those recipes like that. I'm gonna add in the cucumber, and we are going to give it a stir. I'm really glad that I did not use that other cucumber, but that kind of gives you an idea. It probably could handle another tomato because I'd like to see a little bit more red in there, but I think it has plenty of green peppers and I think it has plenty of cucumbers. But let's keep going with our ingredients, and if we need to, then we'll add another tomato because those were so small. All right, next we're going to add our sliced black olives. This is a 3.8 ounce can, but they have taller cans and they also have smaller cans. If you don't like olives, then you don't have to put them in there at all, but you really can't taste them, and my family enjoys black olives. All right, next we are going to add the pepperoni. And I know that we talked about these earlier, but they were kind of behind something, so hopefully you can see those okay. That they're very small circles. If you have not dealt with pepperoni, it is kind of a pain in the Watusi because it's very sticky and it's not as easy. It's not that bad to cut it, but it's really hard to pull all of the pieces apart to make them mix. I wouldn't say it's hard, it's just time consuming. Where you can buy these little ones, they're great for pizzas, especially if your kids are gonna make their own pizza. But all you have to do is just dump, and then you're done with the pepperoni piece. Make sure you get the little safety thing out. And there's no cutting, they're the right size, and they're already all apart and that kind of stuff. So that is a bonus. All right, so I'm gonna give this a quick stir just to kind of start incorporating everything together. I stir this a couple of times after ingredients, just because once you get everything in here, the bowl gets kind of full and it makes it harder to stir everything up. All right, next we are going to add about half of this jar. I do this in stages because you don't know how much you're really gonna need until you start putting it in there. You can always add more, but you cannot always, you can't take away. And you don't want pepperoni pasta salad soup. You're wanting, you want it wet, but you don't want it like drenched, or I don't want it drenched, let's put it like that. My family's probably be freaking out thinking I'm gonna cut myself. There we go. All right, so I'm going to squeeze, I know I'm gonna use probably at least half of this, and this is a 24-ounce jar. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a good amount in there so that as I'm stirring some other stuff up, I can make sure that this Italian dressing is getting on all of the pasta as well. One thing that I wanna call out, and I have it in the written version of the recipe as well, is that as your pasta sits in the refrigerator, the pasta draws in the Italian dressing. So there's two things. If it looks too dry, make sure that you stir it really well first, and you're gonna wanna make sure you're stirring, I hope you can see that okay, you're stirring all the way from the bottom. The pasta salad the dressing likes to collect in the bottom. So before you add more dressing, just make sure that you're stirring everything from the bottom up to get that dressing redistributed. And then if it still looks dry after it's been in the refrigerator, by all means add in increments a little bit more until you get it the way that you want it. All right, so I'm gonna kind of stop there with my dressing, and then I'm going to add my salad supreme and our cheese. So I'll start first with the cheese. And I'm going to add, this is a 1 pound, 4 cup package of shredded cheese, shredded mild cheddar cheese. I'm going to take and start with about 1/4 of that, so about this much in my bag. And I'll have your exact measurements, but like I said, you need to kind of play around with it. Okay, so I haven't put very much in there at all, but I just kind of want to see once we get going. All right, and then this, you can measure this, especially if you have never worked with this before. I know what the flavor tastes like, and I really enjoy it. But the first couple of times I did this, I actually got my tablespoon out and I measured how much I was putting in there. Depending on the size and depending on your ingredients, you may want to add more salad supreme than the recipe says, or you may want to add less. It's completely your call. But try it first the way the recipe is written, and sample it at the end. And if you like it, great, but just make sure you don't put too much, because as we said, you can't take it back away. So I'm not gonna measure this in this video, but I'll make sure that the tablespoon that the measurements are in the recipe. I'm just gonna shake it because I know how much I like on it. And it comes out pretty thick, like a big seasoning. All right. And I'm gonna start adding a little bit more dressing, just a couple squirts. And then we're gonna stir some more, because I have a feeling we're gonna need to add more cheese. And we're definitely gonna need to add some more seasoning so that we get it all over all of the pasta and stuff that was at the bottom. I have seen some people use this as, for cheese, they use the cheese cubes. Some people leave the cubes whole, other people cut the cubes up in smaller bite size. I prefer the shredded cheese just because it's easier whenever you're trying to eat and carry on a conversation, those kinds of things. So I'm gonna add a little bit more cheese in here and kind of take a look and see what it looks like. And let me add some more pasta salad, or salad supreme. It looks like it's a lot, I know, but I'm telling you, it's really not. Because there's so much pasta and veggies. There's a lot going on in this dish. So it can handle the seasoning. And we all know that pasta tends to not have any flavor unless you salted the water whenever you're boiling it. All right, here's where we're looking so far. To give you an idea, I think I am going to add some more vinaigrette, because as I told you, the pasta will soak some of that vinaigrette up. But I don't think I'm going to add any more cheese, and I think there's enough flavor combo and different bright colors in there that I don't need to add the additional tomato. If you're a big tomato fan, add more. If you don't like green peppers, add less. This is your dish to make it the way that your family wants it. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that little bit, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see that. I'm gonna leave that little bit that's left in the jar, and I'm gonna use that for tomorrow morning if I need it. Okay, all we have left to do is to give this goodness a little taste. Just to double check and make sure that the dressing, you can really taste it, to make sure the salad supreme's got good flavor in there. So let me give this a little taste. This is what the finished product looks like. There's a mix of all kinds of different colors and flavors. Let's give it a try. I use the tricolor pasta because I think it looks so pretty whenever it's being served. with all the different colors. Goodness. That is so good. Oh, it's perfect. Got a little bit of kick to it, just a very small, it's not spicy, but you can taste that pepperoni. It is screaming summertime in my mouth whenever I eat this pasta salad. So whenever it sits overnight, the flavors will get stronger as well. But I want to give you one more big shot at what the end looks like. Gives you an idea of the different amounts that show up in the dish. I'm going to get this lid on and get this in the refrigerator, and we want to chill this for a minimum of 4 hours. Overnight is best. If you are enjoying this channel, I would be so honored if you would share this page on your share this page with your friends, your family, your coworkers. It would mean so much to me, and I think it would be so fun to continue to grow this group and learn from each other. Everyone has great recipes, and I'm looking forward to interacting with everyone. If you're on YouTube or Instagram, look up Melinda's Messy Sink there as well, and like us or follow us on those platforms. Don't forget that Jesus loves you, and if you missed the first part 1 of our Easter recipe series, Jazzy Baked Beans, then I will link that video below as well so that you can get caught up on the series. Thank you guys again so much. I am so heartfelt appreciative of you guys taking time to watch my videos, to watch me learn how to use all this equipment and editing videos, those kind of things. I'm truly honored. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.